When you litigate with the FDIC, in a professional case, defending a lawyer, accounting firm, or another third-party professional, some of it would be, to those who do it, very familiar to them. It's just traditional defense litigation of professional malpractice claims. But there are several overlays that make it different here. And I'm going to, in the white paper that's in the materials that I did at length, there are a bunch of cases that, if you're ever on my side of that issue, will be helpful to you in briefing issues. So I'm not going to try and go through them all here, just commend them to your attention and mention a couple during the PowerPoint. But basically, I think the big picture to remember in these cases is there's several sets of parallel facts. If you're representing an accounting firm or a law firm that worked with a bank, there'll be a series of documents and factual information at the bank or from its historical records related to the underlying loan transactions and operations of the bank and interaction with the auditors or the law firm. But then there's a second whole set of documents, and those are regulatory related documents generated as part of the first ordinary examination, the annual examination of the bank, and then if it tended to get into trouble and become more on a watch list of banks, they may have people in there more often doing specific loan write-ups and other checks, generating another whole series of documents. And those are the documents you're going to want to get that are, I'm going to cover it a little bit later, but are very fruitful sources of information. The FDIC predictably, at least historically, opposed that, claiming deliberative process privilege and any number of other things. We were usually able to get the documents. The most that they would usually get away with redacting was sort of at the bottom of the report, where sort of as a report and recommendation part. And that's important to know, because in those documents will be the grist for the mill of your defenses. What I at least took away from doing cases in that era, and I will tell you, generally I defended accounting firms or law firms. Occasionally I did represent a couple DC developers who were sued by the FDIC, and I certainly did D&O coverage back then, litigating the regulatory exclusion, and occasionally we had occasion to represent directors themselves and negotiate on their behalf of the FDIC. So I kind of saw it from different areas. On the professional side, at least it was my view, and it's kind of my view in a lot of professional cases, that while of course you're going to litigate liability, you're going to say we did no wrong, we're going to show you why we did no wrong, that the path to success is not that. You certainly want to mount the best defense you can on liability, but particularly in the failed bank situation, they're always going to have something to talk about. And by the time they get to you, they've already got a nominally prominent accounting expert, if it's accountant, let's just take that, nominally prominent accounting expert who's going to say, oh my God, you know, your loan loss reserve was X, it should have been 10X, it's way off, how could you have done that? And while you may mount technical defenses to that, you certainly will have an expert who disagrees, and you will certainly have factual technical information. It's pretty hard to get comfortable that you're going to take that case to the jury with big, big dollars. It's rare that the amount in controversy doesn't significantly exceed the coverage available, and in many times the net worth, or at least if not the net worth of the accounting firm, at least such that it would impair it substantially if it's not a Big Four or whatever's remaining. So at least in that era, I strongly felt that while you're going to defend the liability case, you're really going to look at all your other defenses. And your discovery should heavily focus on that. And we'll cover some of that here, but basically it's this. You can, if you're defending a professional, you can try and impute the knowledge of the bank. We won a number of cases on statute of limitations imputing the bank's knowledge of its own lending behavior to itself